How's it going, YouTube? Come back to another video, and today, guys, what the video is going to be my ban list prediction, and we do have one around the corner, so this is something that you really want to start thinking about when it comes to picking up a brand new deck. So I do hope that you enjoyed today's video. If you haven't already checked my sponsors over on Gem, Cloud, Arla, Imperium, Dragonshield, RW, MainPhaze, and Grimoire, definitely go ahead and do so down below in the description. Also, check out my METAFY for one-on-one coaching, and then subscribe to the channel if you haven't already so we can hit our goal at 30,000. Now, in my opinion, the only thing more banned than Habakiri next month is going to be my employment status today. Ugh, I got fired today. It is not great, and I'm not really handling it too well. But at the same time, Habakiri is going to be right there in the unemployment line as well once we see this ban list go through, I'm sure. Right? If it doesn't happen, I'd be shocked. And the only reason Habakiri wouldn't get banned is because Konami feels bad that they still haven't released modern decks in Europe. Because that is going to be fairly awkward if they're like, ban Habakiri, here's your modern decks, right? Like, that's going to be horrendously bad. But we'll have to wait and see. But this is a card that is definitely going to get hit. Besides this, it might even be just like prayers, but it's probably Habakiri because Mitsurugi's already been around for a while, and it's just a very generically splashed engine all the time. And this is something that I'm sure Konami will clean up on the next list. Now, objectively, you don't have to ban anything from Vanquish Soul or Canine if you just ban Halisu. The deck is still very good, but it just doesn't have the either-or turn plays besides, like, the Azuna. So I think this is actually really nice to do for the deck, so they don't necessarily get, like, extremely hurt, but still, like, hurt pretty bad, right? Because you don't have to worry about this too much anymore. If you play against this deck, it's usually just going to be, like, one-turn interactions until they get going, which I think is a lot more fair than having something like this in the deck. Because if your opponent opens up this with attributes, it can be miserable to play against that matchup. Because not only is your opponent gaining follow-up in the same time that they're destroying your cards, they're taking the lead by a long shot, right? So this is something that has to go if we want this deck to even be around at any point. Otherwise, we're going to have to hit several cards versus just like banning the problem. Now, I could see Yummy taking a couple hits here. The first one is going to be banning Gravity Controller. This is another one of those just like not intended generic pieces that has now become a major problem and really allowing your opponent to just like bridge. Now, I'm not saying ban like Hornet Drone, and I know that that's like another thing that they can do, but this is a huge problem in most scenarios, so this is a card that definitely just like has to go. And then talking about the other hit is limiting Cup C. Now, there's a lot of times where like just getting too surprised is pretty detrimental to everything that you want to do going into a board. So having less options to see it, and this as a consistency hit, I think that these two really put the deck in check. It's not going to kill Yummy by any means. The deck will be fine. They can still search things with like Cups of Yummy Way and have Camellia and what have you. But both of these hits really put this deck back a step and make sure that the deck is going to be in line with the other decks in the format, so it's not pressing ahead in terms of representation right now in top cuts. It still will be there, but it'll be less powerful. The next thing here is going to be Liger. A lot of times dealing with double Liger and then having the ability to summon another one on like a follow-up turn can be really detrimental. So having only one Liger in the deck I feel like is going to be fine, because at that point the deck can still do what it wants to do, but perhaps it has to put up like a separate board as well with the Liger, just so they have like something else to fall back on just in case like the first plan doesn't work, right? And you can't just like keep throwing Ligered answers on the board and being like, all right, where's the next answer for the next one, right? And this is just another Towers card that got way too consistent and it's way too good. So having this card limited, I think, really does a lot in terms of impacting the Lunalight strategy, but also makes it a little bit more bearable to handle. So the next one after you is going to be Rahu. So this is a deck that definitely needs the hits because it has the #1 overall representation in top cuts as far as the numbers go. And Rahu is definitely the biggest problem. So limiting this like Katu I think is fine. And the other one that we're going to see here is going to be Fenna. And I think that this is definitely warranted because of the fact that Halisu is that one. And that's a card that's going to interact on both turns. I feel like Fenna also has to go to 1, right? Just because this card is allowing for too much interaction and too much like chain ability to different effects, and like being able to like summon Lucius, chain Imperm, chain 5 mana, things like that, right? Just like not very good to see whenever you want to have like a more interactive gameplay with your opponent versus them just like dodging what you're trying to do. So I definitely could see this card getting hit as well, going to 1. Now, like most Floodgates we have at 1, these two should be no different. Di-Fi, D-Ground, they're in most sideboards right now. They need to go to 1, right? These cards are still objectively unfair, and just like every other Floodgate that is at 1, these are sharing the same kind of power, and they should also be at 1. And I feel like that's just logically how this should go, versus the other ones that we already have, like Skill Drain, Rivalry, Gozen, things that are just like constantly problematic. These are also constantly problematic, and I would not be shocked if they went to 1 as well. There's only one semi-limit today, and it definitely could just be Engraver because of the fact that Konami loves consistency hits, and Fiendsmith is starting to pick up a lot in terms of representation, especially with like Elven Note, or if you're playing with the Fiendsmith Yummy deck or in other variants. This is definitely going to be an engine that starts seeing a lot more play, and if we've seen anything before on these types of engines, they start going to 2-ofs and then 1-ofs. So starting off with like a 2-of Engraver, I think could definitely be fine. And then I have a couple unlimits for you. The first one's Sekka's Light. I really don't understand why this is still on the ban list. There's really not a reason for it, and this is a card that should just go back to 3. Alongside Summon Sork, this has the new errata, so like I don't really feel like this is a card that should be at 1, right? Like, just bringing it off the list is not really doing as much as you might think. And the last one's going to be Sacred Tree. I think this is a card, since Runic has just not really been doing as much as we have seen in the past, I feel like this is a card that could definitely be put back to 3 and at least give the deck some playability, right? So I don't really think that this is going to be like the craziest card, and I don't really think that it's going to do that much. It could. I could be proven wrong. I don't really think that this is like that big of an issue if we put it back to 3. Definitely let me know what you think down below in the description, what you could see coming off the ban list or onto the ban list. Check out my Twitter, Twitch, Discord, Instagram. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I'll catch you on the next one. Thank you.